Hey guys, how's it going? This is Khan, Mr. So Real, and welcome to this week's Good or Garbage, the #1 place where you can find out what stuff is being sold in the division that's worth your time, money, Phoenix credits, Darkstone credits, and all that. Now with the PTS in full swing this week, I'm pretty sure a lot of you are very busy playing that and running strikers and probably not really testing anything. But for those of us who didn't really get an invite, who managed to sneak in, then go ahead and enjoy. If you didn't, then be sure to check out live streams. I may be live streaming, so come and chill and check out your boy. All right, starting off this week's Good or Garbage, we're gonna have to move real quick. There's some pretty decent stuff being sold this week, so getting on with it. The best stuff that I would recommend are the PP-19 in the base with responsive, competent, and hurried. There's a really nice Nimble Holster in the base with some pretty good armor and 2 stat rolls that are over 1250, so you definitely want to check that out. There's an extended mag being sold at East 53rd Street with 120.5 size, some crit chance and rate of fire increase. There is a military M60 light machine gun with deadly, brutal, pretty good base damage over in East 34th Street. Now getting onto the stuff that's all right, there's a M870 shotgun in the base with brutal. There's a specialized bag with some pretty good health, some good armor, a final measure bag with 9% crit damage, and that's in the base. The accomplished knee pads with some pretty okay armor, burn shock and damage to elites. You're gonna have to re-roll the all resist on it. There's a Banshee holster being sold. It's all right. Has a good roll for stamina at 7,184. There's some Savage light machine gun gloves that are pretty good. There's an MP7 in the base that's all right. The best thing about it is the crit chance. There's a M700 carbon in the base, in the Dark Zone Vendor in the base, and it's all right. And there's also some Savage gloves being sold in the DZ base as well. Starting off this week at the special blueprint vendor, we have the classic AK-47 blueprint. We have the converted USC submachine gun blueprint. We have the electronics knee pad blueprint, the holster blueprint, the high velocity magazine blueprint, and the vertical grip blueprint. We also have for the mods the electronics mod and the performance mod. So if you need any of this stuff to help buff out your character, or if you want to roll some new stuff to try to fill out your build, then this is the place to start. Now moving over to the special equipment vendor, we have the Centurion with the talents expert and skilled. We have the Liberator being sold. The base damage is not that great. The enemy armor damage is also not that great, and the talents are surprisingly not that great. The Pacon is being sold with another not that great damage to targets out of cover. The base damage is all right. Comes with Swift, comes with Commanding, and Pecan. Not a fan of these talents on this weapon. The Cassidy has pretty okay stagger. The base damage is good, but it is a double barrel shotgun, so it's always going to be pretty high. And the rest of this stuff is not all that great. The Historian being sold, the headshot damage is not amazing. Comes with Vicious, Cool-Headed, and History Repeats. Pretty much all the exotics for this week I would say are a definite pass. Now moving on to the weapons, we have a Rhino pistol, pretty good base damage, but it is a Rhino. And we have pretty much my pick of the week when it comes to weapons in the base of operations, the PP-19. Again, we've got another good PP-19 being sold, so if you missed the one from before, you definitely will want to pick this one up. It comes with 21.5% critical hit chance, base damage is pretty good, and the talents are looking sweet with responsive, competent, and hurried. If you have an electronics build or have some electronics, then this is going to work out well for you since competent is in the second slot. Now moving on to the military AK-47, it's not all that, I would say pass. The M870 is a pretty good shotgun. The stagger on it could be a bit better, but the base damage is pretty nice. Comes with capable, self-prepared, and brutal. You will have to do something about the first and second talents depending on which one you like. The SOCOM M1A has 152% headshot damage. Not a fan of that, but the base damage is okay, and it comes with deadly, dominant, and swift. Not a huge fan of Dominant and Swift. Really, I like Deadly, but it would need some other talents to synergize well for this to be a high pick. But then again, the headshot damage is not that great, so personally I would probably say this is a pass. Moving on to the black market RPK 74, damage to targets out of cover is not that bad. It comes with self-preserve, prepared, and accurate, but with this kind of light machine gun, take it as you will. It's not my personal favorite type of light machine gun, but if you do like these, then definitely you may want to look at this if you like shooting at range, but I probably would pass. Now moving on to the rest of the gear that is being sold. I'm not a huge fan of any of the masks that are being sold this week, so I'm just going to kind of mosey on down. If you guys want to take a look at it at your leisure, then you definitely can do so. But the things don't really start to pick up for me until we get to the bags. Now the specialized bag that is being sold has some pretty good armor at 1,322. It is specialized. The health on it is 12,730. The bleed resistance is at 17, so if you do like bleed resist instead of, let's say, shock or fire, then this could work out for you. The health is not that bad at 12,730, just because with bags the maximum health you can get is 13,339, so it's not that far off from max, but it is, you know, a little bit away. But the armor on it will make up for quite a bit, in my opinion. Now the final measure backpack is also a pretty decent one. Comes with some pretty nice armor. It comes with 1317 armor. Comes with 9% critical hit damage, which is pretty good. Disrupt I'm not a fan of, but that 9% crit hit damage could be pretty good if you're running an SMG build. Now moving on, we get to the accomplished knees. The armor on this is not the best of the best, but the armor is not that bad at 1566. Now the good thing about this is that it comes with 16% damage to elite, 28% burn resist, and 33% shock resist. Me personally, I do like having damage to elites for PvE content, but if you are playing PvP, you may want to have something a bit different. This does have 3% all resistance, so I would say you may want to roll that off. The 1242 firearms is not horrible, although I do personally like my firearms above 1260 if I can get it. But you know, if you are desperate for some knees, you want some enemy armor damage, and you want some okay armor, then this could be a good choice for you. Now moving on past the rest of these knees, as I'm not a huge fan of them, we have a pretty nice holster. Well, actually, no, not this holster. We have a pretty nice Banshee holster. Let me take that back. The Banshee holster has some okay armor on it. It has 1266 firearms, 1244 electronics. You will have to do something about the stamina, but the health on it is not horrible at 7,184. If you are desperate for a Banshee holster, this is a pretty, I would say, comparable one to take a look at if you do need something like it. Now there is a Savage pair of gloves for LMG users. The base armor on it is 978, which isn't too bad. It comes with Savage, 14% crit hit damage, could be a lot better. Crit hit damage gets pretty high on gloves actually, so I'm kind of leery about recommending these, but if you are an LMG user, 1240 is not too bad. The highest you can get for LMGs is 1334, so it is a little bit off, a little bit less than 100 off from the max, but it does come with 8% enemy armor damage. So again, for PvE players, this could be pretty decent. It wouldn't be the best of the best, but it would be okay, I would say. Now moving on, the mods and stuff like that, not really a huge fan of any of these mods. They don't really seem to jump out at me as something as a must buy. So that would pretty much do it for the special equipment vendor for this week. Now heading upstairs to the advanced weaponry vendor, pretty much the only thing I think people will be talking about here will be the MP7. Now while the base damage on this MP7 is not the greatest of all time, the crit chance on it is pretty nice at 22%. The base damage on it is 19.4 with this character, but notoriously the MP7 has low base damage, so it is what it is. The talents are hurried, talented, and fierce. Now while this is definitely not my #1 pick for this week, I would personally prefer the PP-19 myself, just because of the magazine size, and the talents on it are far superior. But I know a lot of people always ask me about the MP7, so if you don't have the blueprint, then here's one that you can buy if you are desperate, but I would say that this is okay at best. The Dark Zone Vendor in the base of operations has a respectable M700 carbon. The headshot damage is 168, which isn't too bad. The base damage on it is 143, which also is pretty good. The talents on it are really going to determine whether you pick this up or not. Now, it comes with Determined, it comes with Swift, and it comes with Elevated. Now, Elevated is something you can't really do much about with the M700 series. They're baked into all of them, but it's gonna really matter if you want to keep Swift or Determined. Now, with Swift, it's killing targets reduces all cooldowns by 7.5%. So if you are playing, I would say, a support role and you're in the back and you're trying to maybe give pulse, then this could give you your pulse back quite a bit faster if you are banking on pulse. And since you are going to need a lot of electronics to make sure that that pulse is active, I think that this talent might not be too bad. It will be something that you will have to play around with if you're going to keep it. I would probably say get rid of Swift and put something like Brutal on it if you're going to roll with this as a support class, but that's just my opinion. Now, the other thing that is being sold at the Dark Zone Vendor are a pair of Assault Savage gloves. Now, the armor on these is 962. Comes with Savage, 4% health on kill, 15% crit hit damage, and 1227 for the Assault Rifle class. Now, the one downstairs was for LMGs, so if you didn't want to run LMGs, then you have some Assault gloves, and this could work out for you. Again, not the best of the best, but if you are looking for something okay or decent, then with that armor, I would say this is all right. Now we're still in the base of operations and we've hit another jackpot. We have a Nimble Holster with some actual decent armor at 963. And the base stats on it are not bad. This is the first time I've seen this for quite a while. We've got 1258 for firearms, 1256 for stamina, 1167 for electronics. You'll have to re-roll that. And the only downside to this holster is that it comes with reload speed. I was hoping that it would have something like skill haste or anything else basically. Not a huge fan of reload speed, but 19.5% reload speed could be very good for you depending on your build, especially if you're running a slower reload weapon like an LMG, a bolt action sniper, or even if you want to just stay in the fight with something that doesn't that's not like an SMG or something like that. So definitely this is a high recommendation for a pickup. I'll probably end up picking up 3 of these and putting these on all of my characters, just because Nimble is very hard to come by, especially with decent armor and with stats above 1250. So I would say definitely go and check it out. Okay, in Park Avenue, we finally found something worth talking about. There's been a lot of crap this week. The Police M4 that's being sold has some pretty good base damage at 25.3, close to the max at 25.5 or 25.6-ish. So 25.3 is not too bad. The talents on it are Destructive, Predatory, and Accurate. So this is pretty good for a PvE build. Predatory is going to help you out really well. Destructive is going to be amazing. And Accurate, you'll probably want to re-roll for something else. Unfortunately, even though you do have Destructive, the enemy armor damage is only at 19%. So kind of keep that in mind, but that base damage is pretty decent for a Police M4. I would say this is a pretty good recommendation. Now moving on, the black market sausage is being sold with a ridiculous amount of stagger, 334. The base damage on it is pretty nice at 118 with this character. Comes with responsive, comes with unforgiving, and it comes with talented. Now you're gonna have to make some decisions on your build, because I know a lot of people are not running stam, so unforgiving may not work out. Talented will be really good for the people who are running electronics builds and running those seeker mines and flame turrets. So this may work out pretty well for you. Killing a target with this weapon increases skill power by 15% for 20 seconds. So not bad if you are running a build like that. If you are running a straight DPS build and you could care less about that, then maybe you are spec'd into stam, and maybe you would want unforgiving, depending, I don't know. And then seeing what you could do with talented, maybe roll that for something else. It's all up to you and your build, so take it as you like. Alright guys, in East 53rd Street there is a pretty nice extended magazine being sold. 120.5 magazine size, 3% crit chance, and 5.2 rate of fire. if you don't have a nice extended mag, this could be a good time to pick one up, especially if you're a PvP player and you want to get that extra rate of fire for maybe one of your assault rifles or something like that, or maybe even for your shotgun. This could work out very well for you. Crit chance and that huge magazine size plus a rate of fire buff, I would say pick it up. Now, if you are a masochist looking for a nice stam mod, we have one at West 53rd Street, looking for some stamina and some skill haste. 262 stam plus 3% skill haste is not bad. If that's something that you're looking for, go ahead and check it out. Really sad that stam is not in a good place, but you never know, maybe with 1.7 they will adjust it, and this could turn into a nice little gem for the future. In West 42nd Street, if you are an LMG fan, there's a pretty decent one being sold. The Infantry MG5 with 14% damage to targets out of cover. Pretty decent base damage at 18.7 with this character. Comes with competent, swift, and my favorite talent to have on a large magazine LMG, meticulous. Now remember, the thing about meticulous is that the bullets will always be free. They don't come out of your reserve, so you get a free reload and you get to keep on shooting. I really like that. So competent in the first slot, swift in the second. Swift you probably won't need with meticulous, I would say. So try and get something with some damage to it that would help you out in the second slot, and then you're kind of good to go. This is a pretty decent one, a lot of fun to play with. So if you are rocking Lone Star, or if you do like using LMGs, then I would say give this a try. It's not too bad, especially if you don't have a hungry hog. In East 40th Street, for my fellow marksmen out there, there's a pair of Savage gloves being sold. Decent armor at 968, comes with Savage. Marksman rifle damage at 4,299. The skill haste is at 8 and the crit chance is at 5.5. Unfortunately, it comes with stam at 1160, so you'll have to do something about that. If you are running a skill-based build and you want some extra skill haste, maybe trying to get some crit chance, and you're still stacking on headshot instead of crit damage, then this could work out pretty well for you. Not the best of the gloves. Remember that marksman damage on gloves goes up to about 4,681, I believe. So it is a little bit of a ways off, but still you got a whole bunch of crit chance, and if you do have if you are stacking for headshot damage, then this could work out for you. If you are running Deadeye, you definitely want to stay away from these gloves. You don't need them, and that's pretty much that. In West 39th Street, seems like it's Savage gloves for everyone. We've got some more Savage gloves with decent armor, all over 900, which I'm surprised about. 956 Savage gloves. They come with 7% enemy armor damage, 1253 shotgun damage, and 7% skill haste. So if you're a shotgun user, you're looking for that skill haste, and you're maybe even playing some PvE content, this could work out for you. This is probably not PvP lover's dream, but yeah, it's still got some pretty decent stats on it, some pretty decent talents on it. If you are running PvE, I'm screwing up. There's so many Savage gloves this week, I'm losing my mind. Now all we need to do is find a pair for some SMGs, and then we're good to go. For the LMG lovers at East 34th Street, man, we've got some pretty nice talents on an M60. Now the damage to targets out of cover is only at 11, but the base damage is pretty nice at 23.6 with this character. Comes with determined, brutal, and deadly. Brutal and deadly together, just sitting there. Now you can do whatever you want in that first slot and try and really maximize the damage with this thing. If you have meticulous, that would be amazing. But you know, 100 rounds in the magazine plus that kind of base damage, I would say this is a pretty nice buy, especially if you like LMGs. Definitely go and check this out. Alright, down in DZ1 over in 5th Avenue, there's a couple things I want to talk about. Number one, is going to be this performance self-heal performance mod. I know a lot of people are looking for the self-heals if they're running those solo builds, so definitely a 5.5 is a very nice one to have, and you can pick one up down there and just go ahead and grab that. Now, another thing that's being sold for the snipers out there, 18.5 headshot damage muzzle with 2% accuracy, 4.5 optimal range, plus 48% reduced threat is also being sold. So if you want to go for that extra headshot damage on whatever weapon you're using, even if it's an assault rifle, you can go ahead and do that. Unfortunately, it doesn't have crit chance and crit damage and all that other nice stuff on it, but if you are running for raw headshot damage, then this could work out well for you. As a quick side note, over in East 31st Street, for extra turret damage, there is a mod being sold for 3.5% turret damage. So if you are running turrets, you want some extra damage, there you go. Alright, over in DZ2, just as a quick run through, they have a nice refreshed mask with some pretty decent skill power. Actually, the skill power is just okay. The armor on it is nice though at 972, and it also comes with increased kill XP, which is kind of a bummer. But then we get into the tactical vest, which has some really nice armor at 1990. Unfortunately, it's only robust, but it does come with 8% skill haste, some exotic damage resilience, and some ammo capacity. Now we also move on to a resourceful bag with some alright armor on it at 1270. Has some pretty nice health on it at 12,263, and it comes with burn resistance. Now for resourceful, if you are running a shield, this could work out pretty well for you because all healing is also applied to your skill objects, which means that if you heal yourself, it will heal your shield, or if one of your buddies sends you a heal, it will also heal your shield as well. So this could work out pretty well for you in some incursion types, or even if you're doing PvP and you are running around with that shield, you get a heal, that means your shield gets a heal, so that's always a good thing for you. Alright, as a quick side note, over in DC6 there's a pretty nice pair of LMG Nomad gloves being sold. 990 armor, 9% skill haste, 1301 LMG damage, and enemy armor damage is at 7%. Now considering that LMGs, the max damage you can find on some gloves is 1334, this is pretty good. And then to cap all of that off, the firearms is at 1268. So I don't really know what to say. If you're running an LMG and you're looking for some Nomad gloves, you need to go and buy these. If you got something better than this, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know, what do your gloves have on it that's better than this? Alright, so the last stop on the train, we're over in DZ9. There is an Omega rifle suppressor being sold. Earlier I recommended one that was 18.5%, but this one is 17.5% headshot damage, but it does come with 4% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, and 42% reduced threat. So for that 1% of headshot damage, you get basically 4% crit damage and 3% crit chance. I think that's a pretty fair trade-off and a pretty good deal. So if you are looking for a muzzle to go on your weapon, be it a sniper or any kind of weapon that supports a larger muzzle, like an AR or something like that, then definitely this is one to pick up. Alright guys, that is it for this week's good or garbage. I hope you guys enjoyed it, picked up something. There really wasn't a whole lot of amazement going on this week, but you know, that's how things are with the division. Most of the time it's not that great, and then sometimes you get some really amazing stuff. So yeah, let me know what you guys picked up this week, if there was anything that floated your boat. If there's anything that you guys are looking for in particular, please leave a comment and let me know. I will try to be sure to point that stuff out with the coming weeks. So yeah, if you guys did manage to get into the PTS, then congratulations. I unfortunately did not receive any kind of email, and I know quite a few people who also did not, including one of who I think is the division's maybe number one guys out there is Sailor Dan. Salute to you, Sailor Dan, man. I'm sorry that you didn't get in either, but I guess that's what it is. So until next time, I'm Khan, Mr. So Real. Catch you later. Peace.